The final sale of Van Jones' soul has been completed. Van Jones given us a preview of the campaign Barry Weiss and Oracle will run to justify their coming censorship of CNN, CBS News, and TikTok. Their pro-Israel censorship is not censorship at all, they will claim, but rather a counter to an imagined disinformation campaign run by Iran and Qatar that caused these platforms to show what is actually happening in Gaza, a genocide of children conducted by Israel and defended by plenty of folks in the U.S., many of them on Israel's payroll. Leaked documents have already shown that Israel's strategy to make the American public favor genocide is to triple down on spreading Islamophobia. Here's the other thing with these charlatans, okay? Like Van Jones. You guys know my opinion on Van Jones. I hate him. He is a giant piece of shit. He is a cynical political actor. He is a major dick rider for Israel. Like, he is such a dick rider for Israel. He was going to, like, third-rate Zionist groups and the events that they were throwing, like the Zionist party, right? Like, that's how much of a dick sucker he is for Israel. And he sucks in general. But, like, a lot of these guys don't realize that their consistent advocacy for Israel is no longer going to... I mean, it's one of those things where it's like what Miss Rachel said is true. Like, it's going to be a point... We're now at a point where not speaking out against Israel is going to be more consequential than actually defending Israel. Like, people are not actually defending Israel. Not speaking out against Israel is now consequential, okay? Like, in the past, being anti-Israel was unimaginably consequential. Now, not being anti-Israel is actually bad, okay? Like, people will literally come after you if you remain silent. And it's especially bad for someone like Van Jones, who is still outwardly defending Israel.
But isn't part of that because we had to fold everything into critical race theory, and somehow the Middle East became part of...
How should we speak out against Israel given the current state of surveillance on social media? They can't arrest all of us. Get the out of here. You can say whatever you want. Suck my dick, Israel. I do it every day, okay? Israel can suck me from the back. Israel.
You know, I see it differently. And I love this conversation because I think people... those of us who went to college give a lot more credit to college courses for how the world works than I do. This is not about critical race theory on college campuses. This is about Iran. Iran and Qatar have come up with a disinformation campaign that they are running through TikTok and Instagram.
You're such a dipshit, empty suit, hollowed out husk, a stooge. Get the out of here. Oh, this is about Iran and Qatar. This is Qatar. Qatar is the reason why people hate Israel. Suck my dick, bitch. Oh my God, you are such a disingenuous charlatan. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Oh my God. Yeah, dude, it's Qatar. That's why. Yeah, I'm funded by Qatar and Iran. And everyone in here is also funded by Qatar and Iran. That's how people... Yeah, Qatar and Iran made people realize that Israel's doing a genocide and that genocide is wrong. If it wasn't for those two countries, people would be pro-Israel and pro-genocide in general. They'd be like, oh, genocide is awesome, actually. Yeah, you already know this. Every time I get gifted subs in this chat, it's the glorious nation of Qatar and the Islamic Republic.
Is massive. If you are a young person, you open up your phone and all you see is dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, right. Diddy, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby. Like, that's basically your whole feed.
Oh my God, what a bunch of animals, dude. I hate these people so much. Oh my God, I have so much hate in my heart for these monsters, dude. So funny. Of course, he's the guy laughing at him next to him is Thomas Friedman. Okay, Mr. Iraq War champion himself, a war criminal. There's that famous Charlie Rose incident. Well, not even an incident at the time. If you want to know what that is, also Faroof, thank you for the 10 community gifted subs, and by that I mean thank you, Cutter, for the 10 community gifted subs to the Piker Broadcasting Service. I mean, the only question for these monsters is what Israel is doing is so defensible. Why don't they let independent journalists in the Gaza? I know. God, I hate these assholes so much. They're such barbarians, and they get no punishment for this kind of like they got no repercussions at all for actively defending the Iraq War over and over again. It's just so disgusting to me. Yeah, here, this is the famous Charlie Rose interview with war criminal Thomas Friedman, who's standing next to also OGS Majority Report video from 11 years ago. Take a look at this.
Difficulty with the peace. Was it worth Well, I think it was unquestionably worth doing, Charlie. And I think that
open presence.
I now certainly feel I understand more what the war was about. And it's interesting to talk about it here in Silicon Valley, because I think looking back at the 1990s, I can identify that there are actually three bubbles of the 1990s. There was the NASDAQ bubble. There was the corporate governance bubble. And lastly, there was what I would call the terrorism bubble. And the first two were based on creative accounting. The last was based on moral creative accounting. The terrorism bubble that basically built up over the 1990s said, flying airplanes into the World Trade Center, that's okay. Wrapping yourself with dynamite and blowing up Israelis in a pizza parlor, that's okay. Because we're weak and they're strong and the weak have a different morality. Having your preachers say that's okay, that's okay. Having your charities raise money for people who do these kinds of things, that's okay. And having your press call people who do these kind of things martyrs, that's okay. And that built up as a bubble, Charlie. And 9/11 to me was the peak of that bubble. And what we learned on 9/11 in a gut way was that that bubble was a fundamental threat to our open society. Because there is no wall high enough, no INS agent smart enough, no metal detector efficient enough to protect an open society from people motivated by that bubble.
This is the intellectual argument that is that haunted everyone with a brain for a decade plus. They hate us because they ain't us. We live in this big, beautiful, bold, open society, and Islam is incompatible with that, and that is the reason why it must be destroyed. Yeah, is this guy considered an intellectual? Dog, that's Thomas Friedman. He's a New York Times columnist. What are you talking about? Please. Yes, he's a racist charlatan, and his argument is childlike, but yes, he is seen as an American intellectual. And there are a million people like him.
And what we needed to do was go over to that part of the world, I'm afraid, and burst that bubble. We needed to go over there, basically, and take out a very big stick, right in the heart of that world, and burst that bubble. And there was only one way to do it. Because part of that bubble said, we've got you. This bubble is actually going to level the balance of power between us and you, because we don't care about life. We're ready to sacrifice, and all you care about are your stock options and your Hummers. And what they needed to see was American boys and girls going house to house from Basra to Baghdad, and basically saying, which part of this sentence don't you understand? You don't think, you know, we care about our open society? You think this bubble fantasy, we're just going to let it grow? Well, suck on this, okay? That, Charlie, was what this war was about. We could have hit Saudi Arabia. It was part of that bubble. Could have hit Pakistan. We hit Iraq because we could.
1 million dead Iraqis, bro. This is how he championed it. We had to kill a bunch of children in Iraq to show the world, to show the Muslim world that you can't get away with terror, as though they were responsible for this. We had to do 1 million 9/11s to a totally unrelated Muslim country. I mean, this guy is sitting right next to him. Look, there he is. Polite society. This is why I can't stand stupid liberals who act as though this guy is not a monstrous piece of shit. His hands are bloody. And here's Van Jones doing a similar thing in defense of Israel. Get out of here. In a just society, they would not have jobs. But the reason why they have jobs is because they say those things at the time, and they continue saying those things. And that is what mainstream media demands, so that your parents are still brain broken into believing that all of the youths are actually anti-Israel because of the scary Muslim countries like Iran and Qatar. And unfortunately, a lot of your parents that watch Bill Maher do believe that.
So that's not DEI. That is a geopolitical adversary that is
like every dumb in this panel has their own right-wing attitude about their own pet project. Bill Maher's like, oh, don't you think it's DI? And Vanjo's like, no, it's actually Qatar and Iran that made people hate Israel. But of course, they're all unified on dick-riding Israel because that's what it is. You have to suck Israel's penis, okay? Every day. If you want a sweet, cushy major media job, you either need to shut the up about Israel and never talk about it, or if you do, you have to talk about it as though it's the most moral nation. It's the most moral nation. It's the best nation. It's the most moral nation. And all of its enemies are scary Muslims. All of its enemies are scary Muslims that want to decapitate you. The division, the contrast between how regular folks feel about Israel versus how the media portrays this issue is so significant, so severe that these guys cannot even recognize that there is a crisis of credibility in mainstream media. And this is the final death blow. It's over. It's done. It's over. Good luck. Netanyahu just announced that TikTok purchases using social media as a weapon of war and pushing pro-Israel propaganda for sake. Yeah, except Van Jones is a part of that propaganda, for the record. Trump on Netanyahu says he has no choice. Exclusive. President Trump told me on Saturday that we are close to a peace deal in Gaza and said he'll push to finalize it in the next few days. I said, Bibi, this is your chance for victory, Trump told me. Trump told me about his call with Netanyahu on Friday evening. He was fine with it. He's got to be fine with it. He has no choice. With me, you got to be fine. Yeah, we'll see. Trump told me, Bibi took it very far in Gaza and Israel lost a lot of support in the world. Now I am going to get that support back. You're not. So what drives people like Van Jones? Is it money, greed, power, status? It's all of the above. It's all of the above. It's all the above. Van Jones knows what Israel's doing. He's not oblivious. Get out of here. Every single mainstream media figure that goes on television every night and sucks Israel's penis knows exactly what the Israel is doing. They just don't care because they're racist monsters, first and foremost. Because how can you look at the charred flesh of babies every day? And I know they see it. They're in the news business. Of course they see it. If you see it, they see it. How could you look at those children that Israel slaughters every day and then turn around and say Israel's the most moral country on the planet? Or they may be doing some complex military tactics that sometimes end up harming civilians? Yeah, well, you know, it is what it is. Like, when you look at all of that, when you look at a genocide and you say that, it's very obvious that you just, first and foremost, do not care about the humanity of those who are being slaughtered, okay? And secondly, you want money. You want money. You have endless greed. You have no soul. You are a soulless monster. This is, of course, very different than, you know, your average coworker who unfortunately does hear from the likes of Van Jones and also doesn't fully grasp the severity of the crisis, okay? But Van Jones is different. Thomas Friedman is different. Bill Maher is different. They know that Israel is doing a genocide. They don't care. They like it. Okay? Make no mistake. Joe Biden knows and knew that Israel was doing a genocide. He liked it. Kamala Harris knows that Israel is doing a genocide. They like it. Okay? You have to understand. They know what Israel is doing, and they either don't have any issue with it or they champion it. They love it. It's that simple. Your coworker, totally different dynamic. Your coworker responds to stimuli. Your coworker responds to all of these institutions with prominence and institutions with influence telling him that, well, you know, Israel's actually still a moral nation, and then develops this dumb attitude, even if it's like 23 months in, because they're not closely paying attention to everything that's going on.